Hey, we have rookies, sleepers, and breakouts. Bradley, very excited for the NFL Combine. We got another imprinted information data point to get heights, weights, 40-yard times, plenty of buzz, gauntlet drills. Let's talk about just some winners and some losers. We see at the top here, we have 40-yard dash. Brenen Thompson, a 4.26. We expected it, we heard about it, and he lived up to the hype. Bradley, what do you make of somebody like a Brenen Thompson at the real life NFL level? We have somebody like a lid lifter. I like to think of Alec Pierce, Rashid Shaheed as players in free agency who are wanted. There's a triangulation between the Seahawks, the Colts, who had them on their teams respectively last year. You have the New England Patriots, Washington Commanders. There's certain batches of teams who really need a lid lifter. Brandon Thompson may end up being one of them. I think better for lid lifting than being a fantasy asset. Bradley, what do you make of Brandon Thompson's resurgence here, where he's rising up boards and he's getting hype into the back round 2 of rookie mocks and into early round 3? He's more cemented.
Yeah, this is a clear void in your rookie dynasty drafts. The reality is when you have big risers with not as strong of pedigrees, like Thompson was not getting drafted there before, and we're artificially inflating his value because of something we already suspected that was part of his profile. That's what I want to warn dynasty managers against, is double counting. We already knew that one of the skill sets that Thompson had was speed. This was confirmed. And across the board, there were a lot of very fast 40 times. So you have to wonder, is the turf, was it really bouncy? Was there, an environment that allowed for all this to happen? I get it. It's beautiful that we see a 4.26. This is a sell the hype situation, and especially for players that were not of that particular pedigree. Now, like a player, we scroll down just a little bit further, Jeff Caldwell, I was interested in finding out a little bit more. There wasn't a lot of information about Caldwell out there, expected to be an undrafted free agent. This might get him drafted in the NFL draft, and that is interesting. That's more Rashid Shaheed eyebrow raising. I'd rather have an undrafted free agent with these types of speed and like priority free agent than getting drafted in like the 6th round or the 5th round, because there's expectations. There's no expectations. And then you're probably going to be able to get a Jeff Caldwell cheap.
Hey, with Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, 6'5", 216, we can do something with this. 4.31. Imagine, to your point, Bradley, inflation is out there killing people. Well, inflation in all these speed times is hurting players who maybe in another year might be at the very top of the board, but still 4.31, nothing to cry about. Caldwell, the 4.31, he also was second in the vert at 42 inches and second in broad jump at 11.2. So we're talking about some burstability. That 6'5" profile, 216, you're sitting there talking about, okay, Tedero McMillan, Drake London, a Roma Dunze type. Are you getting a Mike Evans type of player? There's a lot of archetypes of players that you want who are bigger bodied. Now, the compiling stats, the accounting stats for somebody like Jeff Caldwell aren't necessarily there, but isolated in an event like the NFL Combine, this is the perfect spot for somebody like Jeff Caldwell, a player like him who doesn't have all the shine of the accumulated stats. And now we have an eye popping player. The beauty is maybe it's early day 3 that it shifts now. And then Jeff Caldwell, who prior to the NFL Combine wasn't really well known, well, now he becomes a sleeper. Where at least, hey, we're in the rookies, sleepers, and breakouts. We're in the sleepers portion here, where we're talking about somebody like a Jeff Caldwell. Want to shout out
Is
Deion
it is it
Burks.
Caldwell like a Isaac Tesla type?
Very much. I think that's an apt comparison just for the fact that, granted, the player profile could be different, but in the principle of, hey, you had the NFL Combine, and then we had the process of the NFL Draft where Tesla did a lot better and exceeded expectations. Boom. Now you're more of a known commodity. I would do want to highlight Deion Burks, a 4.3, and it's funny enough, I'm not helmet scouting. I do see that Marquise Brown ability smaller frame. The impression that a lot of people have is how come Deion Burks wasn't getting the ball thrown more to him? So a lot of good things here. Stock up for these players who you needed the NFL Combine to
Right.
work for you. Zachariah Branch is another one. He's 5'9" and 177 pounds. He had a 4.35 40, so a 38-inch vert, fourth in the 10-yard split, made the gauntlet drill look easy. So he's a player who I've been out on. I'm firmly out on. I'm happy for him. He made a lot of money at the NFL Combine because his stock will rise both in the dynasty streets and with NFL scouts. He did something very good for himself. So I do want to acknowledge that for him. But let's talk running backs. Biggest winner, Bradley. Mike Washington Jr., you cannot avoid it. You can't miss it. I was in a mock where afterwards it was a 2-round mock, just fresh insight, right? Rapid reaction. I had the 108. Normally, me, I go with a KC Concepcion. I wanted to see two things: how angular access, how far KC Concepcion would go later in the draft, because sometimes you have to see. And then I imprinted and put in Mike Washington Jr. at 108. And I think that feels very good. We're getting Omarion Hampton comps, 4.33 40, top 10-yard split. He was 151. So he was in the top 10 for the 10-yard split. And he was first in the athleticism score on NFL Next Gen Stats. And second in the vert and the broad jump to Kentucky's Seth McGowan, who made him a lot of money on that day. Now you have Mike Washington. Can he get to being a day 2 pick? We had a lot of Jadarian Price hype. Mike Washington, though, I think, Bradley, has Mike Washington taken the RB2 moniker heading into the NFL draft? Is he in the lead?
I mean, this was an impressive showing for Mike Washington. The speed score, what is it? One of the best of all time. We're getting Bo Jackson comps for BMI, speed score, 40-yard dash. Here's the thing, though. You have a player like this. You've got super speed, but there wasn't the rumblings about Mike Washington Jr. in this way before the combine, which tells you that this was already showing up on the film, and we should not be double counting. This is, again, the fear of over counting for something that we already knew. I wonder if you're looking at like a Mike Washington. Yes, I think he still does get into day 2, but here's like a lazy man's comp is Trey Benson. Like Trey Benson has your 96th percentile 40-yard dash, your 98th percentile speed score. Like people forget that he's 6 foot 216 running a 4.39. That was Trey Benson just 2 years ago. And now you have a Mike Washington who's just a little bit bigger and just a little bit faster. So maybe a little bit bigger, a little bit faster Trey Benson. But Benson's Achilles heel has been his vision, right? He's not been able to hit all those holes. So you have to wonder what is the Achilles heel for Mike Washington Jr. And some people have pointed to, well, it's because he had 12 fumbles. He had the fumbling issue. I don't think that that's it. Running backs can fix the fumbles in the NFL. But I think as we dive deeper and we get closer to the rookie draft, we are going to find that there's a few other holes in Mike Washington profile that, look, it's he's still going to be a day 2 pick, but we have to be a little trepidatious that a team may look at him and say, you know what, I prefer a different type of running back to fit our scheme. So he may not be the second running back off the board.
Okay. Yep. Well, right now I've got to shift and put him. I'm going to be malleable because I'm the guy who made the RB2 pick in that mock at the 108, and I will put Mike Washington as the RB2, but we will be malleable because I think Jadarian Price did phenomenal on his field drills. That not just under that 4.5 40. He wanted a better score himself. He had talked about it. That could still end up. Daniel Jeremiah still had that hype of maybe round 1 draft capital. That might be out of the window. for somebody like Jadarian Price. But let's hear from the Podfather regarding rookies, Dynasty. Let's hear it.
Hey, what if I told you there was a Dynasty app where you could get player lifetime values, evaluate trades, including draft picks out to 2028, compare the advanced metrics of two players, look up the sentiment, buy, sell, hold on players? Well, there is a mobile app that has all of that and more called the Dynasty Dominator, and it's $5 in the App Store on Google Play. This is my gift to you, the most affordable Dynasty League domination app available today. And if you already have it, the 2026 rookie class is ready to download in the app. Let's go!
Hey, well, there you have it. And make sure you're subscribing, you're liking, you're commenting here. Let us know how you feel. Who are the rookie combine winners, rookie combine losers after this last weekend? Tell us, what are you expecting? Where do we have it right? Where do we have it wrong? Where are you on Mike Washington Jr.? Now, Bradley, winners, Kenyon Sadiq, Eli Stowers. They were like in Heat, the movie. De Niro, Pacino, they're sitting at a diner and they're just going back and forth. And it's just an epic scene. And that's what the combine was for Kenyon Sadiq and Eli Stowers. Sadiq, the clear-cut tight end 1. Stowers, the seemingly 2, with some people out there saying, hey, he's the number 1. And they went back and forth. All the mocks, most of the mocks, have Kenyon Sadiq going round 1 in the real NFL draft. Stowers, more of a day 2 pick. Eli Stowers really did a lot for himself. 6'4", 239, a 4'5", 140. But he had the top vert and the top broad jump, 45.5 and 11.3 respectively. And then for me, the Jonathan Taylor of tight ends, Kenyon Sadiq, the 4.39 40 was first at his position. But then you put a 4.39 in with the receivers, with the running backs, and he's fitting in very high on the board as well as Sadiq. 1.54 10-yard split was first at the tight end position. So you have a whole lot going on between these tight ends. Bradley, I know you talked about waiting on a Sadiq. Well, would you wait on Sadiq to get to an Eli Stowers now? Does Stowers jump out for you? Because I'm starting to see, Bradley, 1-2 turn in rookie drafts. That's where Stowers is now going.
Yeah, Stowers is definitely a major target. He's now started to be mocked at the back end of the first round, which is very, very good. And look, you you wonder if like a Sam Laporta pathway might be also appropriate for Stowers. But to bring it back to like and offer some context for how amazing Kenyon Sadiq's combine was, he ran a faster 40-yard dash than Odell Beckham, faster 10-yard split than Deshaun Jackson, a higher vertical jump than Julio Jones, and a further broad jump than Andre Johnson. So, like, this was an absolute slaughtering of the combine by Sadiq. So, extreme athlete. The question is fit and scheme, because is a team going to take a historically 15-16% target share tight end and make him a focal point in year one? Again, I don't know. We're going to have to see where he lands, but the projected draft capital, I think this secures Sadiq as a top 20 pick. We could be talking top even between 12 and 15 if there's some team that is very interested. This athletic profile, I think, very much confirms where he was already going, but gives no reason for anyone to see him slide on draft day.
I think you made a salient point there. It's not necessarily we were in any fear of Sadiq falling, but there's that cementing of he's not going to go past a certain point. And I'm thinking no further past, say, pick 15, which the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have pick 15. Hey, that would be just a perfect spot for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know the Denver Broncos have been hot on the line for a tight end. They want a tight end. Maybe they're going to have to do that Stowers life at the back half, because I don't think 30 you're going to get Kenyon Sadiq. So if Sean Payton is enamored with Sadiq, you're going to have to play trade up city. You're probably going to have to play trade up city beyond somebody like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 15, Carolina
Right.
Panthers at 19, who are tight end needy. So you're going to have to fight off the NFC South, and hopefully you can get up there and be right in that perfect spot for Kenyon Sadiq. The Chiefs would be the wild card. Chiefs don't have cap room, so how they're going to allot their positional players is really going to come down to the framing of how they attacked the draft. Problem is, we're hearing about Carnell Tate. We've had Jeremiah Love be out there, but then the rest of the NFL is saying, don't let Jeremiah Love go to the Chiefs. There's all these quandaries. It's so funny when you go up and down the board, look at team need, look at their salary cap structure, who they're going to attack at free agency. It just gets you running down a rabbit hole. So it's just funny enough, all these ripples and iterations. We get new imprints, though, and excitement from Sadiq and the stock up of Eli Stowers. Now, Bradley, let's bring up Jeremiah Love did very well, but Jadarian Price, a lot of people think that he was somewhat of a loser in this combine. What do you say to people who say that? And do you believe it? Is he a loser?
He's not a loser. Get out of your heads. Like, look, he put up a 79th percentile 40-yard dash, 4.49, 66th percentile speed score. It's still respectable. He's not slow. Like, that's clear on the film, and it was clear at the combine. I think what this did was it burst the hype bubble for Jadarian Price. And as I've said on this podcast before, love Price in Dynasty, not loving Price in year one, because his profile is one that he's got across the board solid metrics. I mean, his bench press is even 61st percentile. Like, he's an above average strength guy. He doesn't have the pass catching out of the backfield. At least that wasn't part of his game at Notre Dame. But he can contribute in special teams, and you're going to have coaching staffs who trust him with the ball in their hand, with the ball in his hands right off the bat. So, no, I'm not worried. This fits the exact pathway of how I've projected it. The issue is that I texted you, Jeremiah, when Daniel Jeremiah came out with his, like, well, maybe Jadarian Price might go into the back end of the first round. I was very excited. But I also knew in my head, like, ain't no way. Like, Jadarian Price is still going to be a day 2 pick.
Mm-hmm.
This just burst the bubble of a possibility, the hope, the darling idea, the concept of round 1, Jadarian Price.
Well, I would love to pick Daniel Jeremiah's brain and hear about Jadarian Price, and he may touch and cover on it. Hey, what's the enthusiasm? Ear to the ground, you still see Daniel Jeremiah, that path for a Jadarian Price in round 1 or even early round 2 draft capital? Are the teams you're talking to, the scouts that you're hearing from, ear to the ground? Is it all there? We have size concerns that the size people are going to be out there for 5'11", 203. You're going to have the spreadsheet people who are saying he doesn't hit a certain metric at the 4.49. And we're already getting jokes about Roschon Johnson. And to me, 4.49 is not a death sentence. Just with this inflation of 40s, you're seeing people who are just like, oh, man, I really thought I was going to get a little bit more. So let's just kind of pause the hype. But Daniel Jeremiah himself, day of, I don't think this was any kind of confirmation bias or any kind of sticking and anchoring bias. He was pointing out Jadarian Price had a great field day at the combine event. So yeah. I think it's still there. I wouldn't poo-poo it 1 degree for Jadarian Price. I think what it offers is we're going to get a little bit of a discount. I saw him go 2-3 in a rookie mock. So the price is still there for Price. He really didn't shift down as much. I think it's just perception. And just like Carnell Tate got blown up over his 40, we're getting the same thing. It's just such scrutiny, even for higher tiered players. Let's do one more, Bradley, for a loser. A seemingly loser, right? Compared to what people are saying and dropping draft capital. Emmett Johnson, a 4.56. Again, it's the 40-yard dash that's hurting. A 5.83 RAS score for Emmett Johnson. or sorry, a 616 RAS score. It was adjusted, but still not the best. Very tough scene. I'm a huge fan of Emmett Johnson, Bradley. My conviction is still there. The long speed is still there. Something that I love about Emmett Johnson. Pass catching ability. It's in a weird way, for the player in the wallet and the draft capital, you want Emmett Johnson to go up. But for the fantasy gamer who has eyes for somebody like an Emmett Johnson, I am salivating at the price drop that I can get from an Emmett Johnson. And the only people I'm going to have to fight off, and there's a lot of them out there, are other Emmett Johnson truthers. But if you're in a home league, a dynasty league, and not everybody's so hot on somebody like Emmett Johnson, you may be able to get him at now the 2.5. Bradley, what say you about Emmett Johnson? Are you sold on Emmett Johnson, or is he a loser for you, or at least a stock down from the NFL Combine?
I mean, it's not great news, Bob. Jared, like, he ran the same 40 as Caleb Johnson last year.
I did. I thought of that. I thought of Caleb Johnson last year. That did hurt. I felt that in my side.
Right. And I think the other point that I want to make, and when this is again a philosophy of just, you play this game so long, just in identifying what are some skill sets, what does Emmett Johnson do from an elite profile? Because to crush as a player, you either need to have all the elite skills, or you need at least one elite trait. And if anything, I don't like it when they have majority and then there's like one Achilles heel. Usually that means an NFL team is going to, the opponents are going to target him or whatever. It's going to be a fatal flaw. The issue with Emmett Johnson is he doesn't do anything spectacularly. He's 59th percentile in the 40-yard dash, 59th percentile burst score, his 28th percentile agility score, 20th in the bench press, 41st speed score. Like, there's nothing that he does that is outside one standard deviation of average. If anything, it's all below. So the pass catching, he could be a solid pass catcher, maybe out of the backfield. But the issue with the bench press is he strong enough to go up against defensive linemen? So you have there's too many pathways for failure for Emmett Johnson, given now this profile. Like, the one thing that we were hoping he would be good at, pass catching, and like there could be an Achilles heel with the strength and agility. So I think there's concerns here. I think that NFL teams are going to look at him and say, there's just not a lot of interest in a player like this to invest day 2 draft capital in. So that's my concern, is he falls into day 3 and he could just continue to fall.
Well, I think there's definitely the balloon's been popped to a degree. He was getting a lot of mocks, and I was part of it, where it was middle of round 1 in these rookie mocks. That price is gone, and it's going to dip. Now, it's just a matter of psychological framing. You, Bradley, myself, Jeremiah, I'm going to be scooping up that discount price like Pac-Man, but I'm realistic, and you got to adjust and be reflexive enough to say, okay, well, now it's going to be maybe early to mid round 2 instead of the hyper inflated price from prior, and be realistic about the understanding of, to your point, day 2 draft capital. It's more likely day 3, but then that's where, for me, I see the ambiguity floating into day 3. I want that for somebody like Emmett Johnson. So I'm willing to stick to my priors on Emmett Johnson, but stick to the present in the market, understanding that the market's going to go down, the price is going to go down, and I'm going to want to be all over that. So it's a good thing, but I'm also being realistic, where now we're in territory where the payoff likelihood has gone down. My conviction, me personally playing, is still high, but law of large numbers and how processes go, because you take a whole phone book of all the players you have processes for, a lot of them stick to a lot of these averages that we're talking about and these law of large numbers. But hey, there you have it. Winners, losers, NFL Combine. Bradley, great show. We will see you all next week.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to playerprofiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.